Tuesday, which means I'm here with a live about content marketing for bookkeepers. Woohoo! Today I am moving into a new theme. So the month of March, I will be talking about so this has been a really important thing for my work as a content marketer, and it's super helpful for other businesses as well if you're trying to promote yourself on social media. So if you think about it, let's say you're a bookkeeping business and you're trying to create content every day of the year. Now, if you think about that, that's 365 different social media posts you need to put up. Now think about all the information that is, all of the links you'd have to track down, all of the blogs you may need to write. It's really daunting, right? It's a lot of stuff. So what a content calendar is it's this really simple tool to help you batch the tasks, to help you get a longer term vision for your messaging to clients, and it just organizes things visually. It's really great. So as I do every week, I posted a blog on this. If reading is more your style, I've got a blog on whichever part of the screen. There's a link to the blog that I wrote if that's easier for you. But yeah, so here's why you should care about having a content calendar. It doesn't have to be a calendar. It doesn't have to look like 7 days of the week, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. But it helps me for a visual perspective, and it really helps you to strategize how to make those 365 posts, for example. It saves a bunch of time. So let me go through some of the benefits of making a content calendar. Honestly, anyone can do it. Just with a little bit of layout, which I have in the blog, which I'm talking about now, you'll be able to make one for your business, and it will help you be consistent. Consistency is so important. One of the reasons for that is algorithms. So you've heard that term over and over again when it comes to Facebook. In order to make your stuff more, for the algorithm to favor your content, one of the things you have to be is you have to put in the work to be consistent before you're recognized as being consistent to be favored. So a content calendar helps you to create a schedule, to be consistent, to make your algorithm better, right? Okay. So, but it's not just Facebook algorithms. I just want to talk to you today about having consistency, lowering your stress, having a more unified message. Because when some people talk about a content calendar, they're thinking, I have to post it at 2 p.m. on Thursday, standing on my head while reciting the Lord's Prayer. That is not what we're worried about today. I don't want you to overthink it. I don't want you to be a perfectionist. I just want you to be consistent and put up quality content. That's it. Let's start there. Let's start with a Honda Civic. Get something reliable that gets us from A to B, which is a consistent online presence. You want to turn into a Maserati later and add 4 blog posts a day at specific times, great. That's not what this post is. This post is the basics. I don't want you to feel overwhelmed. I want you to have a starting point. So one of the reasons why this is so helpful is task batching. I don't know how much you know about like productivity research, but multitasking is garbage. And so I bring this up because a lot of times people will try and procrastinate on what they're going to put on social media until the very last second. So it'll be like 4 o'clock on a Monday and it's like, oh crap, I need to put something on social media. And you'll put something up that's not very interesting, that's not relevant, that's not great, that you post about a fake holiday that no one cares about, stuff like that. Also, the stress that you go through trying to come up with it last minute takes a lot more energy. They say that if you switch a lot between tasks, so they don't, what did the research say? Instead of multitasking, it's a task switching to make you realize that you're disengaging to engage in something else. You lose time, you lose productivity. It's better to get into something and do it. With a content calendar, you can batch your tasks. So you set aside one afternoon, 1 day a week or something like that, and you just sit down and it's just like, all right, I am going to plan out all of my posts for this week. And you can do it a lot faster sitting down and doing it in just one sitting and make them all unified because you see them all in a row. than trying to scramble and do it at the last minute or not getting around to it. You save a lot of time. You're a lot more productive that way. Also, here's something that's like changed my social media content. Themes. Themes make my life so much easier. So in looking at the questions that I want to answer for my audience, for my clients, I come up with monthly themes, and then I come up with a sub-theme under it for each week. So for example, this month is content marketing. So today is the basics, or content calendar. This month is the basics, today is the basics of a content calendar, and then next week it's going to be something more in depth on what exactly you would, how you would write a sales post, how you would write a value post, things of that nature. I'll get more into the details of it. It's so much easier for me to plan out the whole month under a single theme than it is to try and come up with something different every day. And not only that, if you do something different every day, it's hodgepodge, it doesn't look unified, it doesn't look intentional, and it's more stressful that way. But if you sit down and do it all in a row, you can pick themes and it trickles down. It's great. It saves me so much time and brain power, I can't even tell you. Another thing I do is you can repeat the same kinds of contents like every day of the week. Something that you see me do is on Mondays, I post a helpful article. It's called Content Curation. You can do that too. On Tuesdays, I do a live and a blog post. On Wednesdays, I share a tool, and I make sure that they all fit in the theme of the week and the month. Once again, I'm under a theme. I know generally what I'm looking for, and it takes away like, okay, what format am I going to post today? And then I have, like other days of the week to play around with and do a little differently. Once again, you're not married to this idea, but you are giving yourself a template. It's better to have this stuff lined up and then adjust in case like something happens in the media, or even if I have something posted from a month ago but something relevant came up about like the coronavirus or something like that, you can change things up. But it's so much easier to have it done beforehand, right? I think so anyways. And just honestly, having things laid out in the calendar just visually makes sense to me. It's kind of like a visual checklist for me. So if I have a blank square on the calendar, it's like, oh, I'm missing that. I need to fill that in. And then depending on the month or the week or the day of the week, I have a good sense on how to fill it in, to be consistent, to help myself in that way. So making consistent content, so much easier. All right. Hopefully by now I've convinced you on why you should do it. But as far as what to put on there, I know that's something I get asked a lot. Bookkeepers ask me a lot, what do I write? I don't know what to put on there. They'll look at that blinking cursor on Facebook, on LinkedIn, whatever, and they're like, I don't know what to put on there. I don't know what to write. I get that. Once again, I don't want you to overthink it. I don't want you to be a perfectionist about this, because I have read a million articles about all of the different ways to write something at this specific time, and when are your shoppers online, and when are they most likely to read, do your Google Analytics, what stage of the buying journey are they on? It's all of this crazy stuff that you could possibly think about. Don't worry about that. We're starting with the Honda Civic. That's going to get us from A to B. We want to get started. We want to be consistent. That's what's important, is to just keep showing up with good content, okay? So don't worry about all of the crazy, super detailed stuff right now. As far as what to post, think about it as dating. Content marketing, which is what this calendar is doing, is helping you do. Content marketing is not a short game. It's not a Tinder date. It's dating. It takes time. It does have great payoffs. You're much more likely to close a sale and nurture client relationships with content marketing like this, but it is not an overnight thing. And that's part of why the consistency is so important. But if you think about it like dating, it'll help you also think about like what kind of stuff to post. So think about what you do in a date. You are helpful to the other person. If you're trying to get a girl to like you, it's just like, sure, I'll help you move the fridge. That's fine. You're helpful. You're charming and enjoyable. Like you try and tell your best stories and you have that sparkle. You get to know each other better. You share stories about your life as a child, pictures of you as a child. You get to know each other. And a lot of times when you share about yourself, they share about themselves, right? That reciprocity, that social reciprocity. And then also you consistently show your interest in this person. You keep showing up for them. You keep talking to them and keep showing interest in advancing your relationship. So think about those kinds of things in the same way when you're wanting to post social media stuff to your social media feed. So here's some examples of posts to include. Once again, this is audio, this is for the video. If you go to the blog, it's all laid out in bullet points. I'm a fan of bullet points and lists. So you're trying to help them, entertain them, connect with them, and show up and show interest in them. So one of the ways you can do that is you can write value posts. What problems do your clients have? Do they get buried in receipts? All right, share them a link with like your favorite receipt capture apps. Do they, what problem do you know that they have that you can solve quickly? Write a post and it's just like, here's a problem I know you have. Let me solve it in this way. By the way, bonus tip, if you can do this in a Facebook Live, it increases your engagement. So do that. I know that I looked at 50 different Facebook feeds this week for Bookkeepers. I think three of the 50, if I remember correctly, did Facebook Lives once in 3 months. But don't knock it until you try it. I promise you it's not that bad, even though I used to be super scared of these myself, I promise. Anyways, value post, solve a problem, do a Facebook Live. Another thing you can do is share links. This is called content curation. So if you come across, say you're talking about taxes in March before the tax season, comes due, share an article from the IRS about tax deadline changes. Share a video on QuickBooks about how to handle, W-2s, stuff like that. Just share, it saves you from having to write it originally, but you still get to help them. Another thing you can do is ask questions. You want to, get to know this person. You want them to get to know you. So ask them questions. Something that seems to be more effective from what I've seen is you share something and then ask. So you can say, my dog came to work with me today. What are you, a dog or a cat person? And that's like a simplified version. But you can do that with like business goals. You can do that with, current events things. You're trying to get them talking. And also, when you get more comments, it's higher engagement, better for the magical algorithm. Woohoo! So, anyways, also open up a little bit. Something else I noticed when I was looking through these bookkeeper Facebook feeds, it's very, very rare for a bookkeeper to show their face on their Facebook feed. It's very rare. I think less than 10% show their face once in 3 months. It's all stock images, stuff like that. Put your face on there. Show up. Tell them what you're going through. Some of my best engagements, I had a post recently where I had writer's block and I shared about it in a frustrated, silly way, and I got tons of engagement on it. And it helps people see later posts as well. And people get to know me and interact with me. Another thing you can do is screenshot testimonials. So if people work with you before, take a screenshot if you need to, scratch out the name, put on your Facebook feed, show potential clients who are thinking about working with you, here's the result I got for someone else. And don't forget to add a few sales posts. Now there's a balance to that where you want to give like 80% value and connection versus 20% in like sales posts. If your news feed is one big commercial, they're going to tune you out. They're not going to care. Content marketing is about giving them value, giving them something that they can do. So if you're a food company, be giving recipes. If you're a trekking company, maybe you're, listing top 5 hikes or things like that. You want to give them something that they can use, that they like. It builds their trust. It keeps them interested. You can't do just all sales posts. And that's another reason why I like the calendar layout and the content calendar. I want to use that 20%, 80% value, 20% sales. I want to use that 20% for the sales stuff, but I don't want to overwhelm it. So if I see it laid out in a calendar, I have a much better idea of if I've got the balance right. So that's another thing. Looking over my blog, because that's basically what I'm just saying. Yes, so once again, I have a more easy to read bullet point in the blog, and I will be going over these posts in more detail throughout the month to show you how to write them, how to engage them, how to make them good. So maybe you need to make one of these yourself. I'm working on one that'll be downloadable for sale in the very near future. I'll have a free blank template that you'll be able to download soon as well. And I also do done for you work for bookkeepers, where I'll write these posts for bookkeepers because they don't want to have to do it themselves, and I get that. But not everyone can afford that. So if you need to bootstrap one, how would you get started? There are a lot of different places where you can organize your calendar, house your calendar. My favorite way of doing it is to open a Google Sheet in Excel and go from there. That is my personal preference. But not everyone is that way. Maybe it makes more sense for you to have it actually on your Google Calendar as a separate content calendar category. Maybe a task app is more your style, like Todoist or Trello or Evernote. I do like how Trello has things laid out in columns. So maybe that's something that visually works better for you than a calendar. Or if you want to go the paid route, I know that there's an impact on your algorithms. It may be detrimental, and I need to look into that more. But there are paid media scheduling services. They'll help you organize them. They'll post them for you on certain platforms. It's super convenient. It's not free for the most part. Buffer does have a free version if you keep it small to a certain limited number of things. CoSchedule is another good site. Loomly, Hootsuite. So those are all ones that I've heard good things about. Buffer I've used myself off and on in the past, the free version. Once again, the whole algorithm thing, I'm not sure how it will affect that. But if you need somewhere to start, just from scratch, you don't want to screw around with, all of that stuff. Just there are tons of templates for client avatars. It's just there's blank spreadsheets galore on the internet on how to make them. Same thing with content calendars. It's just lots of companies have made spreadsheets. I'm making one, and we'll have it available for you soon to help you plan this out. Have it organized a certain way. On the blog, I've got a couple of links to free ones. CoSchedule's got a calendar template, and basically it's just they have the days of the week and the dates and the months and tabs all laid out. It's helpful. It's better than having to screw around formatting that yourself. If you want to go that route, it's a place to start. Each one's a little bit different, so you'll need to find what works for you. What else? So, here's what I want to tell you. I don't want you to worry about being perfect about this. Perfect is not the name of the game. And there's I've heard this phrase many times, and I love it. Done is better than perfect. And I want you to hold on to that. I know that bookkeepers, God, you guys are smart, you're detail-oriented, and you want things to be just right. And I want you to let that go for this. Consistency is going to be the most important thing. And if it makes you feel better, this stuff decays so fast on Facebook feeds and stuff like that. Even if you make a little faux pas of some kind or you misspelled something, I wouldn't lose any sleep over it. The odds of people even seeing something that you post every single day are actually kind of small, which is part of why you need to post every single day, is to keep showing up, and the odds that one of them, it'll end up in their news feed at the right time for them to click on. So I want you to focus on being consistent. Sit down, block out a couple of hours to really focus on this. Don't just put it off. If this is something you really want to do to promote your business, you're going to have to sit down and focus on it. It'll save you time. It'll be better content. take some of the stuff in here that that I laid out, do themes, do days of the week with specific content. It will save you so much time. I know, because it saved me so much time in my work, and it will unify your message so much more. It's so good. Again, I'll be talking more about like in-depth examples of how to write these specific kinds of posts, like sales posts, calls to action, how to be personal, how to provide value, where to find things to provide a value, things of that nature. And if I didn't say it enough, I am making a content calendar for Bookkeepers, and it will be available very soon. And I will let you know when that's the case. Anyways, that's what I have for this week. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day. Looks like it's getting close to lunchtime for you guys, Eastern Standard Time. Actually, jump ahead. It actually probably is about noon there. I haven't adjusted my clocks for daylight savings time because in Israel, we haven't had it yet. It's weird. It's like it's not at the same time as the U.S. I don't know why, but that's coming up in the next week or two. I'll need to check on that. Anyways, have a lovely day. I will be back soon with more information about content calendars, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.